Chapter 7. Early Wednesday morning, when only farmers and Benjamin Franklin's disciples were abroad, Quilleran received a phone call from Rollo McBee. "Are you up?" he asked. "Got something to show you." "I'm never up at this ungodly hour. What have you got?" "A 2-pound coffee can. Found it accidentally when I was filling in the latrine." "I'm up." In less than 10 minutes, this farmer's pickup came slowly up the lane. Quilleran went out to meet him and was handed a plastic sack from Toodle's Market. "Are you coming in?" he asked. "No, got chores to do. Thought your lawyer could put this in his safe, or somewhere." "How do you want me to explain it?" "Well, I was treating the open latrine with lime and digging around to fill up the hole, and my shovel hit metal, and there was this coffee can. Didn't think I should leave it there for some looter to steal." "Well stated," Quilleran said. "Did you look at the contents?" "No, it's sealed with friction tape. Let the lawyer open it." "Suppose it's filled with rusty nails." "Shake it. Doesn't sound like nails." When Quilleran carried the sack indoors and put the can on the snack bar, the Siamese had to investigate. They sensed it had been underground for a few weeks. As for Quilleran, he was in no mood to go back to bed, and he astounded them by feeding them 3 hours ahead of schedule, although they made no objection. With his coffee and a thawed Danish at the snack bar, he reread the newspaper account of the Coggan fire. Culvert had a 24-point credit line for 3 photos, the largest of which showed Maud grinning at the wheel of her old truck. Did she imagine that she still drove it? The tires were rotting, and, according to Rollo, her license had been revoked 5 years before. A sidebar to the story itself quoted the fire chief, Roy Gumboldt. Following a thorough investigation, it's evident that the fire was caused by an overheated kerosene stove in a room that was littered with flammable objects. The victim apparently fell asleep in her chair and was asphyxiated by smoke before the room burst into flames. There followed the usual cautions about the prudent use of kerosene stoves and heaters, not that it would do any good. Well, fuck you. Volunteers were called to fight that kind of fire at least once a week somewhere in the county. Oh, fuck the fuck off, you
Bullshit,
goddamn
liar.
racist ass, class ass fucking bitch.
Bullshit shit. Yeah. Do they catch on fire a lot sometimes? Are people dumb? Yes. But so is everything else. Once a week in the county.
Fucking kerosene stoves are not that fucking bad. They're not always littered with flammable objects. Like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, I'm stupid. Sorry. I hate electric propaganda.
I hate it. As soon as the downtown offices opened, Quilleran drove to Hasselrich, Bennett, and Barter to deliver the coffee can. In the municipal parking lot, he was hailed by Weatherby Good, who had been his neighbor in Indian Village the previous winter. The WPKX meteorologist was a husky, hearty, glad-hander who entertained listeners with quips and quotes as well as weather predictions. "What kind of weather are you going to give us for the funeral tomorrow?" Quilleran asked. "The heavens smile. Did you know it's getting TV coverage? The network picked up the story for your paper and called us to confirm the time and check the weather. They're flying a crew up from the state capitol." Quilleran said, "Another local yokel story, I suppose, to entertain big city viewers. How's everything in the village?" "Nothing new. Long time since we had dinner. How about Friday night?" "How about Chet's place of gastronomy in Kenbrick?" "I thought you didn't like barbecue, Quill." "I don't, but I feel the need to further my education." "Okay. Meet me there at 7:30? I'll have to go home and change. In the afternoon, I'm speaking to a ladies' garden club, and that means a suit and tie. At Chet's, anything dressier than a tank top looks pretentious. And be sure to wear a baseball cap. It's a hats-on dive." In the law office, the coffee can was stripped of the black tape, and inside were 5 bundles of bills totaling $100,000. Quilleran said, It should be 400,000. They took advantage of a 93-year-old woman. How did you get involved? Barter asked. She reminded me of the grandmother I never knew, and she was an interesting character. There aren't many Maud Coggins left, Bart. In fact, I'd like to stir up some well-deserved recognition. Okay if I use your phone to make a few calls? Quilleran proceeded to call the offices of the mayor, city council, and county board of commissioners, leaking the news that the Coggin funeral was getting TV coverage and the something was assigning a battery of reporters and photographers. He hinted that it might be a good idea to send flowers. Local reporters always looked at the name tags on such memorial tokens. Next he called the Pickaxe police chief and said, Andy, do you realize there will be a massive traffic snarl at the funeral tomorrow unless you assign a special detail? The chief grunted. Dingleberry didn't apply for a permit. That's because there's no church service and no procession. The Obesquis will be at the graveside and parking at the cemetery will be chaotic. Hundreds of mourners are expected, including the mayor and the officials. How come it's so big? The story in the something touched a lot of hearts and even attracted the attention of the TV network. It would be appropriate if we had a piper. Andrew Brody was a big Scot who looked ferocious in uniform, but had a benign majesty when he wore his kilt and feather bonnet and played the bagpipe at funerals. Is there always this guy? Is he even Scottish?
I don't care.
My name's Andrew Brody. I swear to God I'm Scottish wherever the hell we are. I just am.
Also, I don't care. Stop.
I don't care what your ancestry is. Just stop.
Unless you're really deep into it. But if your dad has never worn or killed or played a bagpipe, please don't be that guy. What?
He was just waiting to be asked. I could play Loch Lomond slow tempo before the service, he said. And Amazing Grace after. Oh wow, what a fucking surprise.
What a Scotsman. Don't you know any fucking better songs, bro?
I think that's all anyone ever knows.
Bullshit.
What is all the weirdos who do...
Yeah, the weirdos who are like...
What if bagpipes are just to suss out weirdos?
Like now, probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So far, so good. Quilleran knew he was gambling, but it seemed to be working. He called the newspaper and spoke with Junior Goodwinter. What kind of coverage are you giving the funeral? We'll send someone to get a shot of the picture page, that's all. We've already done a banner story. Better think twice about that, Junior. I hear the mayor and all kinds of city and county officials are turning out, and Andy's assigning a special traffic detail. The network thinks it's important enough to send a TV crew up here. Testily, the managing editor said, Why didn't we know about this? Apparently, it was a spontaneous reaction to your great story on page 1. I just happened to hear about it. On the way back to his car, Quilleran passed the florist shop and went in to check up on the funerary business. Besides, he always enjoyed talking with Claudine. She had long, silky hair and a dreamy expression in her large blue eyes. Renoir would have painted her. Oh, good God.
Drink, my ladies and gentlemen, drink.
Drink for that, it's painful. The country music coming from her radio should have been Chopin. Oh my fucking God, that is so god-awful.
And what the fuck's wrong with... You're fucking getting fucking bagpipes, you fucking bumpkin.
Shut the fuck up! Okay. Getting many orders for the Coggin funeral? He asked. Scads! I have to call for extra help, she said. All kinds of important people have ordered. She must have been quite a lady.
But you don't know her.
I have no idea who the fuck she is. All I know is I'm making a shitload of money.
Just saying, it's so funny. Why the fuck is it? And they're like, there are not many people like her. What? There aren't any old ladies with a truck and a space heater, the asphyxiator? Yeah.
Right. I'd like to order a good-sized basket. I'll write the card. He wrote, from Maud Coggan's best friends, Blackie, Spot, Dolly, Mabel, and Lil Yaller, to Claudine. He explained, "They're the homeless old dogs she rescued."
No.
"Oh, Mr. Q, you're making me cry," she whimpered as tears flooded her eyes. Oh, fuck off. And, yeah, not only do you got a boner, apparently.
Do you get a mustache?
But you got a goddamn little paw break for your goddamn paw drink. It was still too early for lunch, so Quilleran drove out to Sandpit Road to order a tombstone. Next to the extensive H&H sand and gravel operation was a small fenced yard with polished granite slabs and tall Celtic crosses, the H&H Monument Works. As he walked around towards the building in the rear, a stockingly white-haired man with gold-rimmed glasses came forward to greet him. He was the volunteer who had been on the stepladder at the art center, adjusting track lights. "You're Mr. Q," he said, eyeing the mustache. Eyeing the mustache? Like, I have no idea what the fuck this man looks like, but his mustache. Well, like we said, he looks like this or whatever, apparently, just like she does. So, that's like...
I'm just saying, this is a small town, and this guy is pointed out because he has a mustache? That doesn't
really?
seem right.
I have no idea who you are with that fucking mustache. That just reminds me.
Like, is it on fire at all times?
Yes, that's why. It's just smoking constantly.
Sorry, just the fact that everyone's like, "Oh, you're cute, right? Because you got a mustache?" And I'm like, okay. Yes, I too am cute.
This is so funny. I don't know what We almost met, but not quite, at the art center. I'm Thornton Haggis.
Okay.
Thornton Haggis? You named him Haggis?
Let me guess, he just is a bagpipe.
Quilleran concealed his surprise. The name was not an alias after all. There really was a Thornton Haggis, he said. Oh, fuck off. You're just trying to, be like, no, I intentionally made this name. I don't have no ideas in my brain. You won Duff Campbell's watercolor. A nice piece of luck. Are you the first H or the second H in the H&H Enterprises? I'm only the ampersand. My two sons own the business now. Come in and have a cup of coffee. The office furniture in the anteroom in the shop was gray with age or granite dust. I'm more or less retired after joining the Zipper Club, although I feel great. You too? My friend Polly Duncan had bypass surgery, and she's like a new woman. With a name like Haggis, you must be Scottish. That's a family joke. My great-grandfather, Eero Häkkinen, came from Finland to work in the quarries, but he was put on the payroll as Earl Haggis, and we've been Haggis for 5 generations. Always in the tombstone business. Well, that's why I'm here, Quilleran said. No fucking shit are you fucking maybe possibly here for that.
Let's give him say hi.
To order a stone for the woman who lost her life in yesterday's fire. Yes, a real tragedy. It's a miracle that the art center didn't ignite. Beverly Forfar, instead of being thankful, feels guilty because she hated that farmhouse so much. She's very high-strung, Beverly is. What is your function at the art center, Mr. Haggis? Call me Thornton. I'm a volunteer handyman and sign writer. He kept running his hands through his white hair. I need a haircut, but my wife likes me to look like a floor mop.
Tasty.
If Beverly wants to ease her conscience, she could help raise the money for the tombstone. I happen to know the inscription Maud Coggan wanted. He handed Thornton a card. Maud Coggan worked hard, loved animals, mound her own business. Mound? The stonecutter questioned. That's it, verbatim. She spoke the Old Moose dialect, and you have to admit that mound makes sense as the past tense of mind. You don't say, I finded my watch and winded it, do you? Thornton laughed. You should write a column on that subject, Quill. Mind if I call you Quill? In fact, you should write one about old tombstones and how the old cemeteries reflect changes in our culture. History was my major in college down below, and I enjoy poking among old tombstones. What do you find besides poison ivy? A lot of interesting things. Okay if I tape this? Sure. It started in pioneer days, when we had mostly hell-raising miners and lumberjacks. When one of them was killed in a brawl, his drinking buddies chipped in to buy him a tombstone. My great-grandfather recognized a business opportunity. For 2 bits a word, he'd chisel anything they wanted on a thin slab of stone. There's one that says, "Stone paid for by his pals at Jeb's Saloon." I have a photograph of it if you don't believe me. It's at Bloody Creek. Where's that? I've never seen it on the map. Quilleran said. It was a thriving community in the old days. Now all that's left is a bridge and the burial ground. Stones toppled over, some half buried in sand. And then my grandfather went into the business. He chiseled his own tombstone. Stonecutters had a grim sense of humor, and his epitaph was, "A chiseler all his life." Quilleran said, "It's a gag now, but was it funny in those days?" Absolutely. Chiseling was slang for cheating as far back as 1800. I looked it up, found another kind of humor on an old stone near Dimsdale. Here lies a happy man, never married. Want to hear more? I've got 1,000,000 of them. It's a hobby of mine, and when I get started, don't stop. I'd like to visit some of these graveyards. I can tell you exactly where they are, and even go with you if you want a tour director. There's a curious one near Trotto that says, "He was a faithful husband, only one I ever had. Make your own interpretation." Quilleran said abruptly, "Let's drive to the Black Bear Cafe for a burger. My treat." They drove in the band, taking the back roads, while Thornton pointed out abandoned churchyards. He said, "There was a period when inscriptions included the cause of death. I've seen 'died of the pox' and 'his kidneys done him in.' My favorite is 'et bad fish.' When prosperity came, affluent families ordered huge monuments with as many as 100 words inscribed. Listen to the names of wives, kids, doctors, horses, and dogs, plus business successors. They were driving to the lakeside town of Burr, so named because it was the coldest spot in the county." Sure it was. Yeah. On the outskirts, they stopped at a weed-choked plot to see what Thornton called the ultimate in his and hers. There were 2 stones. One said, "Shot by her dear husband." The other said, "Hanged for killing his dear wife." Only in Moose County would you find something like that, Quilleran said. A resort town, Burr was noted for the historic Hotel Booze and its Black Bear Cafe. Guests were greeted at the entrance by an enormous mounted bear rearing on his hind legs. Splintery wooden chairs and wobbly wooden tables added to the primitive ambience that attracted campers, fishermen, and boaters. The 2 men sat in a booth and ordered the so-called bear burger, best chopped beef sandwich in the county.
Why not just make a bear burger? That's legal.
It is. I don't know why you wouldn't just do that.
Like, it's a really tiny, small county. I'm sure you could acquire a bear. I mean,
yeah.
You have a taxidermy bear. I thought you kind of were like Bear County.
I hate when people don't do that. I want bear meat so bad.
No, we had bear?
No.
Really?
We've had bison.
Are you sure we haven't had bear? We've eaten a lot of hipster fucking food and a lot of like.
I don't think anyone had bear.
Oh.
I don't remember bear.
Oh, well, that'd be good. But yeah, why aren't you just...
I just remember watching a video of the guy cooking that bear, and it just looked like a gorgeous ass piece of meat, and I wanted it very badly.
Very badly?
Very badly.
Sorry.
Kuma, I'ma eat you. Do you see what I see? Quilleran remarked. Gary Pratt has lost half a bushel of hair. The proprietor's shaggy beard and uncut hair, coupled with a Ursine physique and lumbering gait, had always given him the personality of an amiable black bear. Now his beard was clipped and his hair tamed. "Hey, you guys! Haven't seen you lately." Gary said, shuffling to their booth with the coffee server. I thought you were both dead. I thought your cats were writing your column. Quill, seem better than usual. My ghostwriters appreciate the compliment, Quilleran said. But let's talk about you. What happened? Get caught in a food processor? I'm getting married. No, the two customers said in unison. This is only for the wedding. Then I go back to normal. Who's the unlucky girl? Quilleran asked. Nobody you know. She owns the Harborside Marina. Don't let her redecorate this restaurant, Thornton warned. It's the first thing she'll want to do. Don't worry, it's written in our marriage contract. She doesn't tell me how to run the cafe, and I don't tell her how to run the marina. Say, that was some fire down your way the other night. The two men nodded solemnly as they bit into their burgers. Gary went on. But it's an ill wind, as the saying goes. I hear the county's getting a piece of land for a new facility they've needed for years, centrally located, on Trevelyan Road. They didn't waste any time, did they? Quilleran said, tartly, thinking of the promise made by Northern Land Improvement. Where did you hear this rumor? A guy who comes in here, engineer for the county. What kind of facility? Thornton asked with obvious apprehension. A parking lot for heavy road equipment, snow blowers, plows, asphalt trucks, road rollers, stuff like that. They've had it scattered all over. They want it together on one big lot. Thornton said, I don't know why. Wouldn't it make more sense to have several stations and deploy equipment to job sites as needed? Gary shrugged. Nobody ever said the county fathers had any sense. They also want to build a repair shop as big as a jet hangar. The two men exchanged glances. There goes the neighborhood, Thornton said as Gary moved away. Beverly will burst a blood vessel if they put it across from the art center. And Maud will turn over in her freshly dug grave no matter where they put it on her beloved 100 acres. The purchaser agreed to use them for agriculture. The rumor could be only a rumor, wishful thinking, along with the pickle factory they threatened to start in Pickaxe. They chewed in gloomy silence for a while. Then Thornton said, I could tell you an interesting tale about the Coggin farm. Not for publication. That's okay. Let's hear it. This was before I was born, but my dad told me after I started getting interested in local history. After World War I, he said the stone-cutting business was doing too well. Mines had closed, county had been lumbered over, and there was an economic bust and general exodus. Thousands were going down below to work in factories, and to die there, apparently. At any rate, they weren't coming north to be buried. He had a Model T truck and did some hauling jobs to make ends meet, but it was rough. People were living on oatmeal and turnips, and families were having to double up. Then one day, Bert Coggin came in to order a tombstone for his uncle, who'd been living with them. The old fellow had been struck down by lightning and was being buried on the farm. Dad chiseled a stone and delivered it in his truck. All Bert had was an ox cart, and the two of them set up the stone on a freshly grave by the river. Dad was glad to get the business. His family was in need of shoes, and Bert paid cash. In a week or so, Bert was back for another stone. His aunt had died of a broken heart. Dad cut the stone, and while delivering it, wondered about burying somebody on a riverbank. What if there was a flood? Anyway, he and Bert set up the stone, and Bert asked to look at the truck. He was thinking of buying one. To Dad's embarrassment, it wouldn't start. He tinkered with the motor until the farm bell called Bert into supper. As soon as Bert had left, Dad sneaked back to the graves. He'd only pretended. The truck wouldn't start. Scraping the topsoil away, he found some loose planks. And under the planks, he found cases of booze. Old log cabin whiskey from Canada. That's the brand Al Capone drank during Prohibition, Quilleran said. Exactly. Rum runners were bringing it across the lake and up the river where it was stashed on Bert's farm until it could be delivered down below. Well, Dad had three options. Report 'em, ignore 'em, or join 'em. Prohibition was bringing prosperity back to Moose County. People were flocking north by the trainload, and everybody was smuggling contraband from Canada, or by the train and Model T. Some of today's old families who claim to be descended from lumber barons or mining tycoons are really descended from bootleggers. What course did your father take, Thornton? He never told us. Merely explained that there was a lot of tombstone business during Prohibition. We lived in a nice house, and always had shoes, and all us kids went away to college. Pause and take a break. Quilleran went home with a feeling of satisfaction after a productive morning and enjoyable afternoon. His housemates obviously felt neglected, however. Their motto was, "When unhappy, tear something up." The interior of the barn had been given the confetti treatment, and the front page of yesterday's something lay in shreds. Moreover, Coco was bleating his new lament, to assuage the grievance and bolster their morale. Quilleran brushed them and gave them an extra treat, and read to them. Coco's choice was The Day of the Locust. When they all went to the gazebo for an adventure with the wildlife, while Yum Yum looked for insects, Coco made friends with the crows and mourning doves. He found the squabbling blue jays interesting, but the pleated woodpecker annoyed him with its ratchety cry. Whenever Coco heard the piercing he talked back with a of his own. Once he turned away from the birds, listened sharply, and yowled. A moment later, the phone could be heard ringing indoors, and Quilleran ran to the barn. Don McBee was calling. "Sorry to bother you, Mr. Q." "That's all right. Everything checks out A-OK for the funeral. Is there anything I can do for you?" "Well, Culvert has an idea. He wants to take Maud's dogs to the funeral. He thinks Maud would like it." Quilleran did some swift thinking about propriety, public reaction, logistics, the media. He knew would gobble it up. Could he control them? He says he could rig a harness like the ones they use for dog sledding, and the dogs love him. They'd behave. Quilleran okayed the idea, and when he discussed it with Polly later, she agreed. Pickaxe liked a good funeral. They still told how Ephraim Goodwinter's casket had been escorted to the grave by 37 carriages and 52 buggies. The length of the procession was considered the measure of public respect for the deceased. Quilleran told her, "There'll be no procession tomorrow, just services at the graveside, but there'll be a traffic jam at the cemetery requiring the help of police and state troopers. It'll be a memorable event with lots of flowers and VIPs and a TV crew from the state capitol and Brody in his kilt and bonnet. He'll play Loch Lomond in slow tempo." "That's a lovely choice," she said, "although many won't realize its significance. Of whom you may count me one. If you'll pardon the tangled syntax, I've never understood that song. There are two unidentified individuals. Let's call them A and B. Apparently A takes the high road and B takes the low road. And B reaches Scotland before A, yet B never sees his true love again. How do you explain that?" "As I understand it, Quill, there are two Scottish soldiers who've been captured. One is to be shot, the other set free. The doomed man's song is based on an old belief that a Scots soul always returned to Scotland by an underground route. The low road, in other words. The melody is especially poignant when played at a slow tempo." Coco was on the deck, close to the mouthpiece. He bleated. "What's that awful noise?" Polly asked. Coco is grieving for Maud Coggin. End of chapter. Chapter 8. At the corner of Trevelyan Road and Cemetery Roads, 4 parcels of land met. The cemetery on the northwest corner, catter-cornered from that, the former Coggin acreage; on the northeast, Boyd McBee's farm; on the southwest, a half-square mile of woodland placed in a conservancy by the Klingenstone Foundation, not to retard the growth of the city, but to promote ecologically the well-being of the residents. On Thursday morning, the intersection was the scene of a well-ordered invasion. Cars, vans, and pickups lined both shoulders of both highways, and crowds streamed on foot toward the last remaining grave, where Maud Coggin would be laid to rest beside her husband. The cemetery, which had served Pickaxe for a century, was a dense forest of tombstones all facing west. On a late afternoon, it was a striking sight when the sun emblazoned the stones, an army of memories summed up in one breathtaking panorama. The need to extend its boundaries had concerned the city council for several years. The problem being to find land not too wet, not too rocky, not too far from the city limits, and not too expensive. Arguments in the council chamber and editorials in the newspaper had failed to find a solution. Quilleran chose to walk from the barn to the site of the funeral. The casket was in place, ready to be lowered, covered with floral sprays and surrounded by wreaths and flower baskets. Standing under a canvas canopy was a solemn man wearing a surplice and holding a prayer book. Quilleran recognized him as the pastor of the Little Stone Church. Andrew Brody, in his towering father bonnet, looked 8 feet tall, an impressive figure with his armful of pipes and shoulderful of swathed plaid. The Dingleberry brothers in their black suits were grouping the mourners. Art Center volunteers in their blue smocks, members of the Farmers Collective in work denims and feed caps, home visitors from the church, each holding a single flower. Places were reserved for civic leaders and the McBee clan. Boyd was there, with his wife and 3 children in Sunday garb, but Rollo and his family were late. Just as the mayor arrived, chauffeured in the official limousine.
How
Like,
the fuck
really?
big is this town?
Really?
I think this is a very
The
small
official
town.
limousine.
What the fuck? Okay. The hearse, you mean?
No, for
So-
the
no, I'm
mayor.
saying- no,
Yeah, I know.
I'm saying-
yeah, what are you talking
No,
about?
I'm saying that's the only limo in a small town that I know of.
You are not from a small town, madam.
A pickup with a camper top came up traveling.
Oh.
Fucking goddamn.
Damn it. God damn it.
Gotta
See,
drink for
we talk
fucking
too much.
over
We
talking.
God, fuck us. I'm
Fucking
sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that was good. You got me.
The official limousine, a pickup with a camper top, came up Trevelyan Road and stole the show from his honor. The 3 tardy McBees tumbled out, and Rollo hurried to open the tailgate. Out hobbled a string of lame, battered, arthritic hound dogs, each with a makeshift collar of twisted red bandana. As gasps, whimpers, and sobs came from the assembled mourners, the dogs, linked by a jute rope, followed Colvert and were glad to sit when tapped on the hindquarters. Eyes that had remained dry at the advent of the dogs gave way to tears as the slow strains of Loch Lomond skirled about the cemetery. The service opened with a few words from the pastor concerning Maud Coggins's lifelong love of the soil and her concern for old, ailing, unwanted animals. She was lauded as the last traditional farm wife in Moose County, working shoulder to shoulder with her husband in the field, rearing a family, making garments out of feed bags, raising chickens, tending a kitchen garden, baking and canning, scrubbing clothes, and doing without. Quilleran surmised that Boyd's wife had written it. She was a substitute teacher who wrote frequent letters to the editor. At the end of the burial rites, the bagpiper played Amazing Grace, and the home visitors dropped their flowers into the grave as the casket was lowered. The mayor, council members, and commissioners were the first to depart, having spoken a few words into radio and TV mics thrust in front of them. Other mourners were reluctant to leave, milling about, speaking in muffled voices, preserving the inspired melancholy of the moment. Quilleran spoke with G. Allen Barter, the McBee family's and staffers from the something. Then he walked back down Trevelyan Road, telling everyone who offered him a ride that he was walking for his health. Actually, he was walking to organize his thoughts. After the turmoil of the last few days, if rumors were true, the county was in a disrespectful hurry to grab a chunk of the former Coggin land for a county workyard. Would the city of Pickaxe want another chunk for a cemetery extension? And would XYZ Enterprises make a bid for the riverfront as a site for Indian Village too? No doubt, Northern Land Improvement would be only too happy to sell. Their stated intention of putting the land in taters and beans had been a ruse to trick Maud into virtually giving away her cherished farm. And how about their promise that she could continue to live there rent-free? That proved to be a short-term duration. Ha! He said aloud as he walked. All's fair in love and war. And business. Pounding his mustache with his knuckles,
What?
he wondered if the fire caused by an overheated kerosene stove could indeed have had another cause. What the fuck does pounding
I
your
guess like
mustache mean?
What?
Who?
But I'm saying that you just pound your upper lip. Like, I'm not pound. Like, yeah, you do twirl your mustache. You do stroke your mustache. You're just pound. Like, yeah, I think like sometimes you're thinking you're like, but you're not pounding your mustache. You're just pounding your upper fucking lip.
Well, how the fuck often do you pound your upper lip?
But no, I'm saying like if I'm really stressed, I'm like, God, what, like something like that. Like if you're like, okay, what do you want to do right now? Like if you're thinking like deep in thought like that. But you're not pounding your mustache. You're pounding your upper lip. This guy is obsessed with his mustache. He needs help.
No, I think
She needs help.
Lilian Jackson Braun.
Well, maybe she'd kidnap me.
Oh my god, I still spelled it wrong. Wow.
Jesus Christ,
Right.
there's something
I
wrong.
did spell it with 2 L's. Fuck me.
I just think she'd kidnap me.
Oh, that's true.
Oh no. Oh, she might be
Oh
dead.
my god, though. Jesus Christ, dude. Who pounds their mustache?
Me.
Okay, where the fuck am I?
Sorry, I get very distracted. So does she. Apparently.
There had been no wind to carry sparks from the house to any other building on either side of the highway, yet each of the farm's outbuildings had burned to the ground, leaving a precise rectangle of charred rubble.
Wow, this like literally sounds so suspicious. Does anyone like this better be a town fucking cover up because if no one investigated this very suspicious fire.
Right? Incredibly suspicious. Leaving a precise rectangle of charred rubble. Then there was Coco's curious behavior, before and after the fire. Trying to figure that one, Quilleran decided could drive one batty. He had reached the art center, now opening for the regular afternoon hours. There were several cars in the parking lot. He recognized the H&H van, Beverly's small yellow convertible, and the Butterfly Girl's magenta coupe. Partway up the lane, he saw the Dunescape truck. Kevin's crew were planting things in the meadow. The foreman explained, "There are shrubs that will attract butterflies. We are also putting in a puddle. Butterflies like to puddle." Quillerman went on his way, thinking, at least they won't require feeding, and won't wake me up at 5 a.m., and won't leave droppings on my car. Perhaps that was why butterflies were so popular. Community College was giving an evening course in... Ooh...
Oh no. You found a big word.
Lepidopterology.
Oh god, I have no idea what the fuck that is. I guess butterfly study.
And Phoebe could hardly paint fast enough to meet the demand. Well, that doesn't answer anything for me.
Well, I think she was painting butterflies.
Is she...
I don't know. I'm stupid, so whatever.
I guess so.
Okay, sometimes I'm stupid. I don't know. You're stupid, big ass, dumb.
I don't
College
care.
words, and I don't
just
care.
don't fucking care.
Like I'm like, oh, the study of butterflies. Oh, cool.
You mean looking at them in your backyard and your front yard?
when your phone won't work and you talk to God.
Like what the fuck? Okay, yeah.
Sorry. Right. Yeah.
The spirit of Mrs. Fisheye was telling him to jump up on the bandwagon and write 1,000 words about butterflies. Arriving at the barn, Quilleran first phoned the art center and made an appointment with Phoebe for an afternoon interview. Then he went to the library on Park Circle and checked out a book on butterflies to mitigate his his utter ignorance.
I'm sorry, I just imagine checking out like a book for like 8-year-olds.
I would like this book on butterflies.
No, but there's like a book for like 8-year-olds. It's like just a big ass picture. It's got like 5 butterflies in it. It's just like the most basic butterflies. Look, did you know this was a monarch butterfly? I learned that today.
I learned this is monarch butterfly.
Well, I imagine. Sorry.
No, I know. It's really funny. By 3 o'clock, he knew the difference between a larva. Oh my god, he does know nothing.
He didn't get a child's book.
He did get a child's book. That's hilarious.
Oh my god.
By 3 o'clock, sorry, I don't know why I didn't drink for that. By 3 o'clock, he knew the difference between a larva and a pupa, and why butterflies puddle, and how many species there are. 17,000. At 4 o'clock, he walked back down the lane. As the landscaper had promised, there was now a puddle in the meadow. A large, shallow saucer rimmed with flat rocks and filled with dry sand. According to the library book, it should be wet sand, but not too wet. Quilliran huffed into his mustache. What?
It's called breathing. It's called... But I'm just saying, even if it's not your nose, out your bottom lip, it doesn't matter. It's once again just your upper, like you're just huffing. It's not into the mustache. You're not always with. Yeah, but I guess you're always with your mustache. Yeah, you're always with your mustache.
Jesus Christ!
I love it so much. He huffed into his mustache.
I know that. I'm not sure where that was. Okay. Was he supposed to carry pails of water down from the barn every day? And what if too many inches of rain fell and oversoaked the sand?
Oh my god.
The book also recommended splashing the stone rim with stale beer. Okay.
I mean, I think they'd appreciate fresh beer, but...
I think they all appreciate fresh beer. At the art center, the collegist was conducting a hands-on workshop in the main room. But the gallery was vacant, and he took the opportunity to view the exhibit without an elbow-to-elbow crowd. He saw the totem pole he had bought, now marked with a red dot. He saw landscapes, still lifes, abstractions, portraits, and one brilliant painting signed P. Sloane in the perfectly beamed potlight. Its colors virtually leaped from the frame, and 2 blue-winged butterflies seemed ready to take flight. The label read, Brazilian Morphe, acrylic, $150.
Wow, that's a really good price. I thought this place could be... like, crazy. I don't know, dude. This book's all over the place. It, like, pretends to be bougie and pretends to be small town at the same time. I don't know what's going on. But I like it.
A red dot indicated it had been sold. There were not many red dots in the gallery.
Aww.
Beverly Forfar rushed into the space. No one escaped her notice. Hello, Mr. Q. I hear you're interviewing Phoebe. Please don't say anything about the parrot. I believe we'll be concentrating on Lepidoptera,
My mustache.
He assured her. I didn't see you at the funeral this morning. I don't like funerals. She tossed her helmet of hair, every strand of which remained perfectly aligned. Some of the volunteers went, though. They said the dogs were there. I'm surprised they were allowed. They were close friends of the deceased. The mayor was there, and he didn't seem to object. He waved an arm around the gallery. Good show. My compliments. He was less amiable than usual, being somewhat annoyed by the prospect of irrigating the butterfly puddle. If they could take care of themselves in the wilds of Brazil, he saw no reason to pamper them with stale beer and pickaxe. Phoebe Sloane was concentrating on mixing colors when he entered her studio, leaving it to Jasper to greet him in his raucous voice. Hi, knucklehead. Got any dirty pictures? Ah ha ha ha.
Oh, God.
The artist jumped up and threw a blanket over the cage. Naughty boy, go to sleep. Isn't he gross? Come in, Mr. Q. Sit down.
Jesus, mean.
Sorry, they don't give us decent chairs. Do you mind a stool? Do you mind a tape recorder? He countered as he set it up between them. I'd rather not have it, if it's okay with you, she said, beseeching him with her lustrous brown eyes. You gotta always comment on them eyes, right?
If they were fucking almond shaped, I'll kill myself.
Well, they probably were. I just don't remember.
They are brown after all.
Yeah, you know it. No problem. It saved him the trouble of taking notes and ensured accuracy, but... What do you want to talk about? She asked. Your paintings. Why do you specialize in butterflies? I guess because I'm thrilled with the variety of hues. I love bright colors. She flicked the collar of her tangerine blouse.
But you hate your bird?
What a douche. Beverly wants me to wear the art center smock, but it's too dull and too warm. Her blouses were always sleeveless, Quilleran had noted. They showed off her graceful arms. When she threw a blanket over the parrot's cage, it was like a dance movement. Oh my god, that's why.
Quilleran needs to keep his mustache in his pants.
Everyone needs to keep their mustache in their pants. Lesbian Jackson Braun writing this book needs to keep it in her pants.
Hey, she ain't no lesbian. She sucked more dick than a motherfucker.
She's done both, but she was
But she's definitely a hardcore dick sucker. Sorry, lady.
I don't know, though. I don't know if she knows how to write men. Well, that doesn't mean anything.
I think she likes him a lot, though.
That's true.
I mean, she's doing an okay job. He's got a mustache and cats. What do you need?
I guess that's good enough.
Look at yourself.
He was asking standard warm-up questions. How did you become hooked on butterflies? Well...
I was 15 and I left. Hooked.
I saw a glittering body in the gutter one time.
It was actually a needle. Sorry.
Well, I learned that collectors catch them in nets, chloroform them, and murder them in display trays! I'm sorry, I mean pin them in display trays. And I thought, how horrible! I'd rather preserve them in paint.
Good.
That's right, bitch. That's fucking right. It's okay, they chloroform them. Why are you chloroforming them?
Because they'll scream.
Yeah,
that's fucking
right.
Murderers.
Murderers! Leave them alone!
Like the most unfair hunt. People get on fucking hunters for doing the deer in the headlight thing, which is rude and horrible. But, like, you don't just chloroform the deer. This is like the most unfair hunt. You just chloroform people. It was real easy. I drugged them all.
Like, pinning is, in my opinion, no different than chopping while someone's alive. Like, that's what you're doing. You're like, because where do you start? Like, a lot of these people are like, oh, I'll start with the wings.
Well,
and then I'll do the arms.
Okay, they do usually start with the head.
Oh, okay.
They do. I learned that because I was like, oh no. Well, actually, no. They pin them first in the body, so, you know, a nice little shock to the nervous system usually. And then they do the head. Don't worry, quick kill after they've already been shocked to death. Sorry, butterfly rant. Because I know more about...
I swear to God, they're all just, like, pieces of shit that are just fucking jealous of artists. And they're like, I want an art collection, but I'll just kill things that are pretty because I can't draw them.
It's probably true. They're psycho. As I talk about taxidermy, hey, they're already dead.
It's a lot different. It's a lot
Like, it would still be
different.
morally weird for me because I'd be like, but if someone killed me, would I really want to be in someone's living room? Like my skin? I mean, that'd be pretty dope. But
I don't know. It's a weird art piece, so yeah, like just put it in there. I don't know. Maybe I don't care.
But
I'm
like,
not
what
sure.
pose would they put me in? You know, it'd have to be very specific. Like, that's what I mean. If someone hunted me, they don't know how I want to pose.
Well, if someone looks at your body or my body and they're like good, they're gonna be like, well, I see a very specific things going on with this body. Like, we could be posed in very specific ways because we look very different. So I'm saying someone, like, a lot of taxidermists are artists. They're like, I see it being like this. And I feel like a lot of times they also go with the way the body's dead. Like,
well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, yeah,
I think they do sometimes.
No, sometimes you have to because. But
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, it's skin. You can do whatever you want with the skin.
I know that.
Dean, you can do whatever you want with the skin.
I think just skin. I'm just saying. I think that sometimes they get visions based on exactly what they're looking at.
No, they don't.
Oh, you don't think so? You don't think they look in the eyes or the fur of a certain creature?
No,
like,
because
I think
they're
it's gonna pose like
dead.
this.
Yeah, it's been 5 days. Their soul's long gone.
And I'm saying you don't think the fucking...
Soul started from butterflies, ladies. And one gentleman listening.
Oh my god, it's like a scrapbook, okay? Or like whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like, you see it, and the colors, and the whatever, and the body type, and you're like, I think it would look best posed like
Yeah,
this.
I'm not saying they don't do
Uh-huh.
that. You said something weird of how they looked when they were dead. That's all.
Oh, well, yeah, I also said that.
Yeah, you said that. That's what I was arguing
Like, if the
against.
body's just in a weird position.
Dude, why would the body be in a weird position? It's dead.
I don't know.
Yeah, if you get someone having a weird ballerina toe because they're so fresh, because they're fucking rigor mortis, fine, go make them be a ballerina. I don't care. But yeah, the pose. That's what I'm saying. It would be a moral question. It would be a taxidermist because it would be like, how would you want to be? Like, did you like to sleep and I'm going to make you be like, And you're like, what? I was so chill. I didn't fight ever.
No, okay, no, you're posed like a bear in a restaurant or a bar. Like, you know, like the actual, like, always bear. The general bear taxidermy is always raw. Yeah, just that. Would you want to do that?
What?
If you knew someone was going to taxidermy you as a bear.
As a bear.
No, as a bear, but like, you know, the way bears are taxidermied.
Why are you asking me like you're planning for my taxidermy?
I'm saying, if you were taxidermied, and you knew if you were going to die, and you knew you were going to be taxidermied into a restaurant or a bar that was going to show you off 24/7 as a bear type, and that also includes being naked because you're a bear.
Good. I am naked. I
Of course,
just wanted to make
yeah,
sure.
of course.
Can
Bears
I
are
have,
naked.
Can I have like a stylish? Okay, well, it can have a stylish tube top.
Fully naked.
Fine. Okay. Well, okay. Can I at least have a jacket? There are some restaurant bears I've seen with jackets on or vest. I can have a vest. I can have a denim vest.
What kind of bear have you seen with a denim vest?
Have you ever been to a restaurant?
They don't have vests.
I've seen taxidermy animals in many clothes at restaurants
What?
and hats, and I need a hat too. I need a hat.
Okay, fine. So, whatever. You're apparently glam.
I no, I don't want pains or anything. I just want a vest and a hat.
You just want a vest and a hat.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess there are bears that are like
Yeah,
that
just
sometimes.
have. Yeah, they just have some clothes.
Okay.
Some accessories.
Some clothes, accessories.
Accessories.
Okay, yeah. So then will you be fine with that? Like you're like
I
yes.
don't know. If I say yes,
You don't know?
I feel like you're gonna taxidermy me tomorrow.
I'm not gonna taxidermy you.
You're gonna get someone to taxidermy.
No, I'm not gonna do that either.
I don't know. You bring morticians around.
Hey, this is a license. In a different state.
Oh, okay. It's not like you can't drive.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, you should just do the smart thing and like bring that here.
Sorry, everyone. Had to go on a taxidermy stint. Don't know where that came from.
I'm gonna take a smoke break. I
Okay.
want a cigarette.
Yeah, I do. Do you want to pause those?
You know what? I don't have to. I don't care.
Okay. Sorry, I went on a taxidermy. Oh my god, no.
I don't know. I think I would love that. Like, saying I think that'd be awesome. Like if I was posed like a bear
Okay, dude.
in a restaurant
In a
forever.
restaurant. Cool. Well, then when the restaurant goes under, you're gonna end up in a storage unit and you're gonna end up in fucking Pawn Stars.
No, you're posed above the door. And because you're completely naked, the doorbell, like the bell, is attached to your testicles. So they shake every time the door opens.
But that's the thing, no one's gonna look behind them when they walk in.
But then
No,
other
no,
people
no.
sitting will notice it, and that's when it's great, because it's great. You get in,
No,
you
no.
don't see it, and you turn around, you're like, oh my god!
But no, but that's the thing, you never turn around. People will just be laughing and you'd be like, they laughing at me? No, it would be like, just like, why did everyone laugh? Oh. Then you just go and you get to sit at your table, and what if you just are at a table that isn't looking, and then you turn around, you're like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And that gets you back. Every time.
Yeah.
You're like, damn goddamn testicles and them tattoos, man. I'm coming back.
Okay, well, strange.
And then during Christmas time,
Oh, shut up.
you know, that's where they put the mistletoe.
Yeah, you have a very weird Mad Max world, but like you're like.
I have a blackberry wine world. What are you talking about?
No, I know. I'm saying that your idea, like everyone loves the apocalypse, and I'm like, the apocalypse is fun, and like the aftermath of the apocalypse is fun. But what happens when it's the aftermath of the apocalypse? Like there are yuppies again, yuppies with restaurants that are like, I got this taxidermy, bro. And if it felt like that the aftermath of the apocalypse, because there will be yuppies again. There will be yuppie restaurants even after an apocalypse. And happens.
There are always yuppie restaurants.
Fallout.
Rise from the ashes.
Fallout. Sorry, I hate Fallout. Do you know how much I hate Fallout? I will say that on record. I know old ladies, your grandsons, your nephews, your nieces, who knows, probably play some form of it, and I hate the video game.
Dude, it's bad. And like, I remember fucking that guy being there. He came into our fucking apartment and was complaining about it. He was like, my kids play Fallout. You don't do shit.
Oh, right.
He's like, I don't know why they like that crap game. They don't do anything in it. He's like,
Right,
my
I
game
forgot
did shit in games. He's like, now you just, walk around and do nothing?
But you collect stuff, Dad. Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you click
And
bottom caps, you can buy nothing.
I like doing that shit because I am a stupid youngin. But I'm saying
I'm just
it's
bored.
I know, but I'm saying I'm bored, and they're for a futuristic world. There's just why is there just not like you can have so much fun? Like the world is gone. You can make it whatever you want. Social rules out the window.
Here's an idea, nothing.
Oh, the 50s, even better.
Yeah. God damn.
Sorry, I hate the thing. Light here.
It's never ever change either.
No. I love this fucking wine bottle.
Oh, I do too.
No, I like the top. I think it looks classy. I think it looks like white chocolate Hershey Kisses.
Oh my god, fuck off.
It's so fucking classy.
So fucking classy, you trash bag.
Shut up. Date night with Hershey Chocolate Kisses and this wine. You get in bed tonight with me.
White chocolate Hershey Kisses.
Oh, I do too, but I can eat 2 of them.
Why, because they're classy?
No, because that's as much as I can take because they taste like soap, because all white chocolate tastes like soap, because it's mold.
But you'll eat it anyway.
Oh, I like mold, but like only 2 pieces, because it's fucking mold.
Only 2 pieces of mold for me, sir.
Well, I mean, I think that's the healthy amount of mold to eat.
Yes, I don't think it's measured in pieces.
Well, cheese is measured in squares, and people don't complain about that.
When?
1 cube of cheese, 2 cubes.
That was that you. That's the scientific weight of
Cube.
cheese. It's a cube.
Metric cube.
Metric cube of cheese. Yes, of course.
Hey. Actually, yeah. A cube is.
That's until they reach the cottage.
A cube is measurement.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like a square foot. It's a cubic foot. No, that
Yeah, I know that.
I know, but not that you.
Measure cheese.
I know, I'm just. Well, okay, fine. A cubic inch of cheese. Is that better?
Measures them in inches.
A cubic inch of cheese.
I think people just measure cheese by weight. I don't think they measure by inches.
I know.
Anything.
I measure it by inches.
You measure it. Why do you measure cheese by inches?
Well, like when I'm cutting it, which I won't do the whole phrase. I'm sorry. Do you not like symmetrical cheese chunks?
Of course I like symmetrical cheese chunks.
I hope you enjoy your half-inch cubic fucking cubes of cheese.
That's not it. I don't care. You just shut up. No. I don't measure it like that. Like I try to make nice sized pieces of cheese. I don't like think in my brain.
Well, you're actually gonna have a ruler. I don't.
Well, you're talking about
I know what an inch
inches.
is, or half an inch is off the top
Oh
of
my
my
god!
head.
So I know, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you always go by an inch or a half inch.
It's
You're not
half
just
inch.
like whatevs. Finish, not finish.
Well, like if I'm doing.
If you're doing what? Fancy saltine whole grain cracker plate cheese mixes? What are you talking
if I'm like
about?
making
Yeah.
If I'm making fucking white trash nachos, I want it all to be even, so I cut it all the same. So yes, when I'm making my fancy fucking saltine nachos, I do.
I was just shred it.
Sure, what?
The cheese.
Because that makes a fucking mess and there's cheese everywhere and my hands are covered in cheese.
Okay.
Excuse me, in bold. Anyway, white mouse crossing are like...
Because it looks like white chocolate. Kisses. Hershey's Kisses. White chocolate kisses. Whoa.
It's tolerable if there's a nut in it.
What?
White chocolate. If there's a nut. It's like I said, you only eat Hershey's. Like when people like get those fucking like Hershey's like bars, like the white chocolate bar, I'm like, why?
I think I've done that maybe once.
You have. I've seen you, and I mocked you horrendously. You're like, I like it sometimes. Cause classy.
It's not classy.
That's cute.
Yep.
No, at least it doesn't smell like vinegar anymore. Cause I know it's just cold in there. You close it. No, maybe it's because he's always eating. He was like, it's too early for lunch, so I'm gonna pick up a tombstone. I'm so fucking white trash. I was like, wait, what? It's too early for lunch, so you're gonna get a freezer pizza?
Okay, bro.
Is that what you eat for breakfast? It was very confused.
Can
Oh my god.
you...
No, I can't. I'm sitting. I like to sit. My spine feels good.
You're breathing. You're being. You're doing what you wanna do. So don't get me to do things you feel.
No, my back feels fine for once. I want to keep it.
Buzzkill.
Wow, man.
Wait.
It's an ad. Stop singing to ads.
All of life is just one big ad.
Yeah. Although I think they're supposed to be guardians to your house because they have a broom like it's to keep the mice away.
Alright.
Albuquerque and the snow and the car and put sure together. I love it.
Oh my god, dude.
I said beautiful family.
No,
The
yeah.
parking lot.
What level of, like, white trash are you when you see a white trash moment and you're like, beautiful?
Like you're real white trash. You're like, that's sweet. I wish my dad did that for me. He was now telling that.
Now he's selling meth! Meth! Meth!
I
Meth!
say he's dead because he's selling meth.
Meth! 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 Now he's dead, he's selling meth. Is that what you said you said?
I said I say he's dead, but he's selling meth.
Run out the door! He's got meth! Selling meth! Soon be death! From selling meth!
What do you guys do? Why X-Town? Do you know how the duck always did this?
Oh,
That would be me. Every speech.
That's my
Hey, you.
exhibit. Hey, Dad, stop selling meth.
No.
Please.
So,
Stop selling meth, please. Like, my friends think I'm, like, gross. Please stop selling meth.
can you stop it just because I wanted to know?
Chapter break, yeah.
Sorry about that. Back to the fucking story. Did you study art? I wanted to, but I'm an only child, and Dad expected me to attend a college of pharmacy for 5 years and then take over the drugstore. 5 years? I thought, no way. We had an awful battle, but my grandmother was on my side, and we won. She sent me a book on painting with acrylics, and here I am. What I do isn't great art, but it makes people happy, and it's more fun than counting pills. Why acrylics? He asked. They dry fast. Tell me about the Brazilian morpho. Isn't it gorgeous? It's the male that has those unusual wings in metallic blue. Morphos used to be used in making butterfly jewelry. Ugh. I concur. What is the butterfly's function in nature? They pollinate wildflowers. Most people prefer lawns to meadows nowadays, and pretty soon butterflies will be extinct in America if we don't do something about it. I raise them in a box and then set them free. My grandmother sends me the caterpillars from California. To test her knowledge, she asked some questions gleaned from a book.
Point. Maybe they would be going extinct if people weren't shipping them in boxes. How about you just leave them in California and let them migrate naturally to the south?
No,
if they
because
want
they're
to.
stupid. They won't figure it out on their own.
They're not stupid.
People will not respect nothing.
Sorry.
To test her knowledge, she asked some questions gleaned from the book. What do they feed on? Why do they have spots on their wings? Why do they rest with their wings together? What is their life cycle? He was beginning to feel vaguely dissatisfied with the interview. He was asking the wrong questions.
Yeah, because he's like butterfly obsessed now, and he's like, I need to know everything about
I need to know all
butterflies.
about butterflies.
Why do they rest like that? What do they eat? Please tell me.
She was not giving quotable replies. The subject matter failed to grab him. The stool was uncomfortable. Finally, he said, "Tell you what, why not bring your butterfly box to the studio someday, and I'll come back and have a look at it." "That would be neat," she said. "I'm just starting a new hatch, but before you go, Mr. Q, could I ask your advice?" "There will be a slight charge," he said lightly. "Don't you think I'm old enough to have an apartment of my own? I'm 23, although I know I look younger. My boyfriend thinks I should have a place of my own where I can paint and raise butterflies and keep Jasper." "Are you saying your parents object to your moving out? It was a common family problem in Moose County. Well, the main trouble is they don't like Jake. He's only a bartender. For what it's worth, I worked my way through college as a bartender, Quilleran said. Of course he fucking did.
Dreamy cute.
I've stroked my mustache all through bartending. You know how many belly shots this mustache took? You know how many belly shots? That's why I call my newspaper the something.
Right?
Because I'm not sure what I'm downing anymore. Sorry. Does he have does he have long range goals? What other skills does he have? Has he an adequate education? She cast her eyes down. Not really, but he's gonna be promoted to manager of the restaurant, and she giggled. He's one sexy guy.
Wait, is he a whore?
I don't. What? Okay.
Well, he just asked if he had skills. So, like, when you say he's sexy, is he a whore?
That is a good question.
So, I'm just gonna assume
It's either he's a whore or you're
Do you think he has a
really bad.
mustache?
No. Only distinguished men have mustaches.
He's got sideburns. I'm betting on sideburns.
I'll take the bet on sideburns.
You can't bet with me.
Yes, I can. That's how betting works. You can take a bet on that.
We're betting against you. The people.
He groaned inwardly. Why were young women always asking his advice? Just because he wrote columns on everything from jazz to beekeeping, they considered him a pedant. He cleared his throat. Some of us are grown up at age 12. Some of us never mature. It's not a question of whether you're old enough to make your own decision. Are you old enough to take responsibility for the outcome if it turns out to be a bad decision? You sound just like my dad, she said. Of course he does. Take me, Daddy. Take me with your mustache.
Stop. People are trying to enjoy the book. But we're funny too.
Quilleran was glad to leave and return to his uncomplicated household, where family members merely tore up newspapers and talked to crows.
Yes.
Pause and take a drink. You got a part on the page, so do it, freak. He was having dinner that evening with Hixie Rice.
That sounds delicious.
Hoo-wee, that does sound delicious. Promotion director of the something, and once a neighbor of his down below.
Yeah, he's definitely from hell.
Oh, he's from hell.
That name, a neighbor from down below, yeah.
She had won over the locals with her energy and personality, while retaining her big city ideas. They were meeting at the Old Stone Mill, a picturesque restaurant converted from a historic gristmill. The ancient water wheel, wrecked during the spring floods, had been replaced by an accurate reproduction, but it would never be the same. As the purists said, old is old and new is new. Taking guests out to dinner was one of Quilleran's favorite pastimes. Tonight he was the guest, and Hixie was treating on her expense account, which meant she was about to ask a favor. For the ice festival, she had talked him into being Grand Marshal of the Torchlight Parade in sub-zero weather, but he was saved by the freak thaw. As soon as the two news staffers were seated in their favorite alcove, an exuberant and extremely tall wait person bounced up to their table. "Hi, guys!" He hailed them, with the flip disrespect he deserved for VIPs. "I've been offered a new job." "Here?" Quilleran asked. If they want to make you head chef, I'm taking my business elsewhere. Derek Cuttlebrink had the height 6'8".
Oh,
What the What
giants!
the fucking hell?
Where the fuck these giant men come from?
Well, yeah, okay, well, she said extremely tall. She really fucking meant it.
Yeah, but everyone is like 6
Well, yeah, he's
foot.
like 6'1" or something,
Yeah, dude,
too.
everyone is like huge. It's like a paradise.
6'8".
God, giant. It was a giant human. That's why they said weight person. This is a giant.
He had the height, 6'8", and the outgoing nature that gave him carte blanche around town, and he assumed that everyone was interested in his personal life. His customers enjoyed his breezy style. Young women adored him. Audiences at the theater's clubs productions
Hated him
were
because he
wild
blocks all the
about
views.
yeah, I know. Were wild about Derek's performances. Of course, he's a goddamn theater kid and a fucking
Oh, so
great style.
everyone else is of human height. And now you're throwing off the whole production because everyone has to look over at you like a tower. You're a prop. Go be a building. Sorry, Derek. I hate you. I don't hate tall guys. They're just too tall.
Oh, you know, his last name is like Cuttlebrink, so
Yeah, it's like Cuddle.
yeah, it's exactly Cuttlebrink. So,
So that's
I
just,
don't
I
care.
would make fun of him for his name. Then he would keep growing, and I'd be like, oh my god, and you're a giant.
Do you grow every time someone makes fun of your name?
Yeah.
Cuttlebrink is on the brink of hitting the ceiling. Wow. Now, to his credit, he had enrolled in the restaurant management program at the Moose County Community College. At last, he was being viewed by serious observers as a comer and not just an engaging clown. So, what do you think? Derek persisted. It's the manager's job at Chet's Bar and Barbecue in Kennebec. It's a good deal. Can you handle it and still finish school? Quilleran asked with genuine concern, being one of those who thought the young man had potential. I'll have to cut back on classes, but it'll look good on my resume. Manager of a 100-seat restaurant, you know. It
good.
depends on the restaurant. This one has an upscale menu and certain cachet. You work flexible hours. You get good tips. Meanwhile, I think the lady would like a glass of white wine, Derek. We have an acceptable little Sauvignon Blanc by the glass. Hixie took his recommendation, and Quilleran ordered his usual skunk water with a lemon twist. Just the zest, not the pith, he requested. To Hixie, he said, as the waiter left the table, what do you know about that joint in Kennebec? Barbecue is not my favorite food. It's a dump. I've been there to get ad contracts signed, and Dwight and I had a meal there once. It's very popular, and on Saturday nights it's really rowdy. But the food is good. Mountains of pork barbecue with baked beans and coleslaw served on plastic plates with plastic forks. Office is upstairs, also an apartment, sort of a pied-à-terre for Chet. He has a girlfriend, you know. No, I didn't know, Quilleran said. He invited me in for a drink. It's quite luxurious. He can be a charming host, but he's a hard-driving businessman. He wanted Dwight to do his public relations, but Dwight's agency doesn't handle politicians. Why do you suppose they offered Derek the job? He has a personal following, she said. As manager, he'll bring in customers they've never had before. Derek returned with the drinks. Are you interested in tonight's specials? The soup is a chilled gazpacho garnished with creme fraiche, and the entrees are quail stuffed with mushroom and prune douche, and roasted snapper with étouffe sauce and spinach. Give us a moment to think about it, Quilleran said. Instead, they thought about Derek's offer. How would his girlfriend react? She was a Chicago heiress who had breezed in the previous summer, discovered Derek, and decided to stay. It was she who had convinced him to enroll in MCCC, and who, according to gossip, paid his tuition. Quilleran said, a girlfriend with a large trust fund has a strong power of veto. But never mind that. What's on your mind? The adult spelling bee. What do you think of it? Great idea. I won all the spelling bees when I was a kid. I taught myself to read by studying cereal boxes on the breakfast table. I could spell ingredients when my Peers were struggling with... What the... Who is talking? Who's talking?
Who is talking?
I don't know.
Whatever, just read it.
I know.
I guess it's just him and her.
Is it her talking, or is it... It's not Derek talking, right?
That's what I thought, because it's insane.
Sorry.
Well, whoever's talking, great idea. Won all the spelling bees when I was a kid. I taught myself to read by studying cereal boxes on the breakfast table. I could spell ingredients when my parents or peers were struggling with CAT. You must have been unbearably precocious, Hixie said. Cute, too. I had curls. Hixie hooted. God,
She's gonna kidnap me. She's gonna kidnap me.
Curls.
She's gonna
Now
kidnap
he
me.
has a mustache. Look at him go. He is the upper class, but still he comes from down below. Look at him with his cats in tow.
She's gonna get me.
I hate him.
Oh, okay. I'll leave. I hate him, dude.
Hixie hooted with laughter. I'd love to see an early picture of you. My family pictures were all lost in a fire.
Yeah, that's what you say when you get.
He said
surgery.
ruefully. It was an innocent prevarication invented on the spur of the moment. Actually, all mementos of his past had disappeared during the black period of his life. He had not even a picture of his mother. He was silent long enough for Hixie to change the conversation from flip to businesslike. Want to hear the names of our sponsors? This restaurant, the bank, the funeral home, the drugstore, Gippel's Garage, and XYZ Enterprises, plus 4 not-for-profit sponsors, the Art Center, Theater Club, Pickaxe Boosters, and Farmers Collective. If there's something you want me to do, Hixie, don't keep me in suspense. Well, we need 4 officials, a master of ceremonies, someone to pronounce the words, a judge, and a timekeeper. I volunteer for timekeeper. No. With your wonderful theater voice, you'll make a perfect wordmaster.
Great.
Why not Weatherby Good? He has a wonderful radio voice. He's going to be MC. Derek, overhearing their conversation, said, I'm going to be on the spelling team for the theater club. The boss here wanted me to spell for the mill, but I may be gone by then. What does your girlfriend think of your job offer? Quilloran asked. She wants me to do whatever's best for me, he said with a smile so smug that Quilloran wished he had a cream pie handy. End of chapter.
Okay.
On to the next chapter.
Chapter 9. Right.
Yes, chapter 9.
Wait, I need to get my luncher.
Need a drink before we start. Yum. There were times when Coco made Quilloran's headache. It happened in the process of thought transference. The cat stared at the man's forehead, and the latter suddenly remembered it was time to feed the cats or change the litter in their commode. If slow in remembering, he experienced a dull ache between the eyes as the staring intensified. For example, one day Quilloran was slumping on the sofa with his feet on the coffee table, trying to think of a topic for the quill pen. Writing more than 100 original columns a year put a strain on his inventiveness. Oh, just humble brag much. Like 100 columns a year.
It's like 2 a week. Just
It's like 2 weeks. It's like no big deal. It's like no big fucking deal. I make like a shitload of money. But no big deal. It's just like, it's so draining. I hate the luxury of my big house and my 2 cats.
My indoor gazebo? I'm still not getting a blueprint in my mind for this house.
I am not. It is confusing. Suddenly, he swung his feet to the floor. He had an idea. Why not write 1,000 words in praise of the ample mustache?
Dear Lord, down below and up above.
Oh my god! This woman is like mustache crazy. Like, is your husband like smooth as fuck and he just can't grow one?
Oh my god, what if he's a baby smooth and she has a
Is
mustache?
that like
fetish?
why Quilliran has like a huge mustache? She's got like a huge mustache.
I've never
fetish.
thought about mustache fetishes. They must exist, right?
Well, think about it. Like, if either A, your husband can't grow one, because a lot of men cannot grow a lustrous mustache, especially a lustrous mustache.
No, like a boom. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But then B, there's also men who can, but because of their ways, they're like, no, I don't want to have my mustache anymore. That was a then time thing.
Yeah,
And then their wives are like, but I fucking miss it so bad.
Right? I guess there is a mustache fetish. Right, and even not even a fetish, it's just like you've had it forever and then it's just gone. And you're like, whoa. That was like I mean, it was like their second dick apparently. But according to this woman, it's their second dick.
Yeah, he's stroking it all the damn time.
Damn! This mustache gets so much action.
Not sure what to do, stroke the mustache.
Sorry. I am not cheating.
There had been many mustaches of amplitude made famous by Mark Twain, Teddy Roosevelt, Pancho Villa, A.G. Spaulding, Einstein, Groucho Marx, Simon Legree, British airmen in World War II, and Quilliran himself knew a thing or two about the advantages and disadvantages of an ample mustache.
Milk.
He could easily milk 1,000 words out of this topic.
Holy shit. I made a milk joke, you bitch, you did it.
Good lord. He touched his forehead. The dull ache between the eyes was subsiding. He glanced at Coco, who was sitting on a large book on the coffee table. It was Quilliran's pleasure to have a few important books on display, new, large format, and handsome. They were good for browsing, effective conversation starters when he had guests, and especially appreciated by the bibliocat. Coco liked to sit on a large book, keeping it warm, as Quilliran said. At this moment there were 3 books on the table, one on baseball history, one on Andrew Wyeth.
Manlier.
The book that Coco was keeping warm was Mark Twain, A to Z. A reference work with a jacket photo of the great American writer.
Oh, just like this book.
And his great mustache.
Does it say that?
Yes, it does say that.
I never know when you're fucking with me.
I'm not fucking with you.
Well, it's got a picture of him in the sleeve, just like this great novel.
Wait, does it?
In the sleeve. That's back to the sleeve.
What's got a picture of her?
No, I know. I'm saying the Mark Twain book is just like this great
I
novel.
know.
Duh. Gosh. Stupid.
Oh, you're right. Quilliran slapped his forehead as the truth struck him. Coco had done it again. It was happening more and more in recent months. Quilliran thought, mind not to question how or why, just accept it and be grateful. It happened again on the day after Maud Coggan's funeral. He was lolling in the library, listening to tapes, and the Siamese were on hand, enjoying the propinquity of a family threesome. Yum Yum had her back turned, but Coco was watching Quilliran intently. You know, all those things put together don't exactly sound the way you want them to sound, and that's absolutely fine, ma'am.
It's fine. Get your mind away
Hey,
from our front lawn.
shut the fuck. Halfway through the recording, it occurred to him that he had never listened to the taped conversation with Maud Coggan.
Wow.
Without finishing the reel, he switched to the reedy, high-pitched voice of the 93-year-old. The cats were silent as she talked about her life. Silent until the remark about taters and beans. It brought an unexpected yowl from Coco, imperative enough to make Quilliran play the passage again. But how do you cultivate all this acreage, Mrs. Coggan? Some young lad's been tillin' it since Bert passed on. 100 acres, always back to the river. With them big machines, ain't like it were. Good lads they be. Paid me rent they did for 20 year.
Game.
Thought we missin' a month. I think I know them, the McBee brothers. Don't rent the land no more. Sold the whole caboodle. No more taxes to pay, and I can live here without paying rent. This new fellow loves the soil, he does, like Bert did. He's gonna plant food crops, taters and beans. Coco yowled again. Something about the message was bothering him, and Quilleran was feeling tremors on his upper lip. He turned off the machine and phoned Rollo McBee. The farmer was in the barnyard, but his wife was eager to talk. "Did you see the 6 o'clock news?" she asked excitedly. "They showed the dogs and Culvert and the flowers and the farmers, but not His Royal Highness, the mayor. Isn't that a joke? Him and his limousine?" "You can compliment Culvert on his handling of the dogs," Quilleran said, "and thank the pastor for his appropriate remarks. Also the farmers' collective for turning out in such numbers. Yes, it was a nice mark of respect for the poor soul, wasn't it? Are you going to keep the dogs?" "It looks like it. Culvert has decided he wants to be a veterinarian, so I guess we're starting with a 5-bred dog hospital." "Good for him. By the way, I'm glad to hear the collective is sponsoring a team in the spelling bee." "So am I. It's a good cause. My sister-in-law is going to spell for the farmers, and Culvert would love to be on the team, but I told him it's just for adults. I bet he could beat 'em all, though." "I believe it," Quilleran said. Then he edged his reason for calling. "The organizers of the spelling bee would like to line up some Lockmaster sponsors, and I thought about Northern Land Improvement. Do you have their address and or phone number?" Wait till I get the rent file, Mr. Q." She returned with a phone number, but no address. Only a post office box. As the conversation ended, Coco walked from the room with a resolute step and slightly lowered head. Quilleran thought, "There's something on his mind. He's going to do something rash." A moment later there was a crash, accompanied by a metallic bell-like clatter. Quilleran rushed to the foyer and found the antique brass handbell on the stone floor. There was no damage to the bell, only a small chip out of the flagstone. "Bad cat," he scolded. "Very bad cat." Coco was not there to hear the reprimand. "Pause for a minute, take a drink, freaks do it." Also double drink because handbell.
Oh, right.
Who the fuck has handbells?
Everyone.
No one. The phone number of Northern Land Improvement was indeed a Lockmaster exchange, and Quilleran called several times without getting an answer or even an answering machine. Coco only made matters more irritating by bleating in a pessimistic monotone. Quilleran said, "I wish you'd stop your eternal vetching." Yet he himself had dispirited. He pounded his mustache with his fist. "Good Lord! Stop the pounding!"
Like I said, this mustache gets more action than me.
Jesus Christ.
It does. It's been pounded so many times.
He was getting a hunch that Northern Land Improvement was a sub-Rosa division of XYZ Enterprises. It was the developer's scheme to obtain prime land at a favorable price. Sellers always upped their asking price when XYZ showed an interest in buying. As it had happened, Maud Coggin was a pushover, and after fleecing the aged woman out of her property, the bogus company would dissolve. That was Quilleran's train of thought. The Coggin farm backed up to the east fork of the Itibitiwasi River, where water rushed over giant boulders and willows grew on the banks. It would be ideal for another Indian village, closer to town. As to the rumors about a possible cemetery and an unsightly facility for the road commission, they could be no more than that, rumors planted by XYZ. Quilleran had no respect for the organization that had botched Breakfast Island. Their residential projects made a good show, but cut corners on construction. The Indian Village development in Suffolk Township, where Quilleran had bought a condo for winter use, was a case in point. Yet it was a moneymaker for XYZ. Like, does he just have to always humble flex his character even through the narrator's perspective? Oh, his winter house he just happens to have, by the way.
Condo. Like, it's not having another condo. Like, a lot of people have multiple properties, obviously, but
one like for winter use.
For winter,
oh my god!
Like, why? Oh, I write best in the snow. Oh, sorry, he's such a pretentious.
His reflections were interrupted by a phone call from Derek Cuddlebrink's girlfriend, Elizabeth Hart. She had used some of her inherited wealth to open a gift boutique in the resort town of Mooseville. It was a venture that only an heiress could afford. Gift boutiques had never done well in this fishing, boating, camping mecca. Bait shacks and t-shirt shops were the best bet. Quilleran could guess why she was calling, and he was right. "Has Derek told you about his job offer?" she asked anxiously without polite preliminaries. "Yes, and he seems quite flattered," he replied. "Flattered? Have you ever been to that place, Quill? He took me there one night, and I refused to stay. Horrid food, cheap service, mindless noise, with everyone shouting and screaming while 2 television channels blasted at each other. It would be a dreadful work environment for anyone with Derek's qualities. I wish you would dissuade him from accepting, Quill. He respects your judgment. It's not for me to interfere with his career choices, especially since I've never been to Chet's. But I'll tell you what I'll do. Although barbecue isn't my favorite food, I'll sacrifice my taste buds for your sake and go there tonight." Thank you, Quill. I'm counting on your support. How's the boutique business?" "My shop has just opened. When are you gonna come see it?" "This weekend." "How are the kitties?" "They're fine. Yum Yum is chief bug catcher, and Coco is taking singing lessons from the birds." Hanging up, Quilleran turned to Coco, who was listening with ears pointed inquisitively. "That was Elizabeth Hart. She asked about you." "Pause for a moment. Girls got a pot on the book, so drink them turls." I will be annoying. Fuck me. As Quilleran prepared dinner for the Siamese, they had their feline happy hour, chasing up and down the ramp. On the way up, Coco was the chaser and Yum Yum the chasee. At the top, she slammed on the brakes and chased him all the way down. Time, 16 seconds. Quilleran dressed in grubbies for his dinner date at Chet's Bar and Barbecue. Watched them gobble their canned crab meat, garnished with goat cheese. He said to them, "You guys are dining better than I am tonight." There were 2 restaurants in Kennebec. He and his friends patronized Tipsy's Tavern, founded in the 1930s and named after the owner's cat. Famous for high-caliber steak and fish, it occupied a sprawling log cabin. Chet's, in a cinder block building down the street, advertised plain, clean, and friendly. When Quilleran entered Chet's for the first time, all the tables were filled and the atmosphere was hazy with smoke. Weatherby Good signaled for him from the bar. Normally known as a snappy dresser, he looked suitably grungy for the occasion. "It wasn't easy," he explained. "I threw everything out in the driveway and ran over with the van a couple of times." "It's crowded," Quilleran observed. "It's always crowded. Let's have a drink at the bar and grab the first table that is available." He turned to the red-headed bartender. "Give the gentleman a skunk water with a twist." "Hi, Mr. Q," said the young man. "First time ever seen you here." "I hope it won't be the last," Quilleran replied with a tactful ambiguity. In the center of the back bar was a portrait of Chester Ramsbottom, the one that Paul Scumble had been painting at the art center. Surrounding it were 10 framed watercolors of shaft houses labeled with the names of the 10 historic mines now abandoned. Buckshot, Goodwinter, Moose Jaw, Old Glory, Big B, Dimsdale, Black Creek, Honey Hill, Smith's Folly, and Three Pines. As Quilleran analyzed the variations in light, shadow angle, coloration, and season of the year, the bartender said, "My great-grandfather worked in the Buckshot. It had a cave-in this year during the flood," the weatherman said. "Yeah, say, you guys live in Indian Village, don't you? I'm thinking of buying a condo there." The two customers glanced at each other. The condos at Indian Village, despite their questionable construction, were pricey and occupied by successful professionals or persons of independent means. Quilleran said, "They look good, but they're poorly constructed. You might be sorry." "The windows rattle," Weatherby said. "The floors bounce when a cat walks across them. You can hear your next-door neighbor stirring sugar in his coffee." "I don't care. I always wanted to live there," said the bartender. Then he leaned across the bar and said in a confidential voice, "I'm getting promoted. I'm going to be manager. It's a good deal. Hey, there's an empty table." The man made a dash for it, and when they sat down, Weatherby remarked, "Chet must pay his manager good money if he can afford to live in Indian Village." "Somebody's got his signals crossed," Quilleran said. "Derek Cuddlebrink's been offered the job." An overworked waitress interrupted. "Pork, beef, or turkey, sandwich or platter, hot, mild, hot, or call 911. In a matter of seconds, she was back with plastic plates piled high, while 2 fluffy white rolls teetered on the summit. "If you want seconds or anything, wave your fork."
This place sounds fucking dope.
It does. For some reason, they're treating it like it's garbage. Pork, beef, or turkey. That's awesome. Everyone in the restaurant had to shout in order to be heard above the general din, and that resulted in a privacy of sorts. The privacy of deafening noise. Loudly, Quilleran and Weatherby talked about the dogs, the funeral, the parrot at the art center, and the weatherman's cat, Jetstream. Jetstream. Oof, that's a great name. Love it.
That's fantastic.
"I've built Jetboy a screened porch outside the kitchen window," Weatherby said. "It's 2 by 2 by 2 feet, screened on 3 sides and carpeted wall to wall. The land slopes down to the river, so he has an aerial view." Yeah, that's really fucking small. Like, that's a cage.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's a little.
It's a fucking cage.
Yeah, you said
A screening porch. That's a fucking cage.
I was like, porch. Wow, whole porch. Cool.
2 by 2 by 2. That's a fucking cage. "Does he stare at you when he wants something?" Quilleran asked. "No. He stares at the refrigerator when he wants food, and stares at the kitchen window when he wants out." "That makes sense. Coco and Yum Yum have developed an unnatural friendship with 7 crows who hang around, strutting back and forth like a drill team, bouncing up and down and fluttering their wings. I don't know exactly what's going on. I have a cousin in Virginia who's a corvidologist, and she says crows are among the smartest of birds. She believes they'll be the next big animal fad. We've had frogs, owls, monkeys, pigs, whales, and dinosaurs. Now she thinks we're due for crow posters, crow t-shirts, crow jewelry, and who knows what else. Let's face it, crows are neat."
Okay.
Thoreau liked the sound of crows, Quilleran said. "Teresa, that's my cousin, has an idea for an animated feature film about crows, but she needs someone to work up a scenario. Would you be interested? It would be quite a challenge, quite an adventure. She's coming up here to visit family this summer, and we'll get you two together. I think you'll like her." The waitress kept returning, urging them to have more of this or more of that. Weatherby said to Quilleran, "Did you know that Chet's father was a bootlegger during Prohibition? He had a blind pig in one of the abandoned shaft houses. The rule was, if you fall down the mine shaft, you've had too many. I keep looking at his portrait and wondering if his expression is one of the intelligence or craftiness. Paul Scumble is said to have a talent for revealing two sides of a persona. I've commissioned him to paint Polly's portrait." "You better chaperone the sittings," Weatherby said. "He also has a talent for charming the socks off his female subjects." "Thanks for warning me, Joe." Weatherby Good was an alias. His real name was Joe Bunker. "You don't say. Weatherby Good. Oh, right, but who would know when the name was something crazy fucking... Goddamn. There was a scream at the other end of the room, and everyone in the restaurant joined in singing Happy Birthday. "Let's get out of here," Quilleran said. "I've had enough barbecue to last a lifetime." Outdoors, the silence of a small town fell on their ears like a blessing. As they were saying goodnight, Quilleran asked Weatherby if he had ever heard of Northern Land Improvement in Lockmaster. "No, but I'm not much into real estate," the weatherman said. "I have their phone number, but don't get an answer. If I could get in touch with the principals, I could throw some business their way. They must have registered their assumed name with the county clerk. Do you have any contact at the county building?" "No, but I can track them down easily enough. If you're selling some of your lake frontage, I'll make an offer." "You'll have first refusal, Joe. Enjoy the evening. Give Jetstream my regards." End of chapter. Hmm?
Sorry, no. I meant the sticky one.
Oh my god, me too. I feel like I'm sick. I've got so much blackberry sweetness in the back of my throat.
Oh god, I know. I hate that. That's what I hate the most about the wine. It makes you feel sick. No other booze does that.
Well, it's because it's not just pure sugar, practically. Like, and syrup to drink.
Because you... Like a really low alcohol wine, do you think you could mix it with something else? Make a snow cone?
Like what? A snow cone?
Yeah, but like...
Oh, probably.
Obviously it'd melt if it was too high alcohol.
You're
But you could probably mix it with another something. I think
yes,
wine
I think you
cone.
could make a wine snow cone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blackberry wine snow cone, y'all. Yeah. Listen to the stories in the TV to the summer. Yeah.
Hey, I'm thinking about summer hustles. Go say hassles. Hustles.
Just shuffle on over to the snow cone stand. Hey, hey,
What?
hey.
What?
Just shuffle over to the snow cone stand. Hey, hey, I got an idea.
Can I have like 30% of all the wine snow cone sales? Well, I mean, actually, I can make the wine syrup. You just put it on, and then I can take like 50% of the wine. But then you don't have a license, so actually I should probably just use that in my back room. Hey everyone, there are snow cones over there. You know what's even better? Wine cones.
White code. What? White code.
Oh man.
Really stains your mouth worse than a snow cone does.
Dude, I didn't get myself one of those Mexican ice cream carts. I saw one.
Here?
Yeah, like in front of like one of the antique stores.
Oh.
A fucking ice cream cart. And I was like, fuck.
calling
Not
to you.
here, not here. Like out of town. But like